Alright guys, here is the video for MP CHEETUS, aka CHEETOR as we knew him here in North America, although like arguably maybe not the Canadians because they called it beasties. Anyway, yeah, MP-34 CHEETUS. He comes in the standard MP box here that we've all come to know and love with some pictures on the back. Don't dwell on the packaging too much. And he's a cool little cheetah. Now, he's not quite as streamlined as Primal. He does, like, one of the things that they did do is, like, if you look at some of his dots, they may be hard to tell. We'll get to that bendy thing in a minute. But they're kind of pixelated around the edges. Like, that's in focus. That's not me fuzzing up the camera. Like, they have that kind of CGI pixelation, which I think is kind of cool. Looking like the TV screen show. Now, when I picked him up, you'll notice like one of my few issues right off the bat with this guy, and it helps if I focus. That's not an issue. That's my issue. I have more than one. Is his abs are... There's no really way to lock this. It's this little hinge right here. It's there for transformation, but it doesn't... none of this snaps into place because this is the gun and the waist piece, which doesn't plug into the arms and the upper body here. So he poses just fine standing. There's no issues there because the feet are supporting the weight of that. But if you pick him up from either side, that ab hinge tends to go off. And it's not a deal breaker. I like the toy overall. Like it's nothing major, but like, well, I don't want to say it's nothing major. It's annoying to have that. For somebody who's, if you're just going to pose them on the shelf, or if you're going to leave them in robot mode, less of an issue for you. But and maybe some people have it where it's not quite as loose. You could probably put some floor polish on that joint to stiffen it a little bit, retain the functionality, and keep it from being floppy like that. Like I said, it's a middle concern, I guess. Let me put it that way. It's not. I don't consider it to be super minor, but I don't think it's a deal breaker either. Now he has his mouth opens and closes here. He's got little fiber optic whiskers that I do worry about snapping off at some point in his lifespan. But you can see that the legs are posable out here. There's a swivel. There's a hinge here, and the paws are on swivels and a swivel and a hinge as well, so you can get some decent wide stance pouncy poses out of him, or whatever you want. The back legs have a hinge here, a sideways hinge, a little bit of a knee here, and then the paw down here, and then this little hinge right here. There is some robot kibble there, but that's it's kind of hard to do a figure this streamlined and not have some bits sticking out. It would be nice if they could have completely made that disappear, but physically I just don't see how that would be possible. So yeah, his head. And he does have swappable heads in both modes. Those are kind of his extra pieces. You can see he's got a super surprised face. Again, you can close the mouth on that, but even then it doesn't close all the way. And he's got more of a squinty face. And you'll notice that the eyes, like, these are facing straight forward. These are going to the right. These are going to the left. These are going to the right. I'm looking at the camera backwards. And you can actually even swap out the eye pieces as well. There's a little... So if you want... if you want to have pieces looking off to the... I'm going to swap which direction they're looking. See, now he's looking over here. And he's looking over here. Or if you want to have him look... And to pop the head off, you just pull it. You just literally just pop the head off. Although it does tend to come unpeg from the arms when you do that. Everything pegged back together. Whatever. So yeah, there's a little groove there that you can get your thumb in under the head and swap it out. So if you want to have him have a squinty face looking straight forward, now you can. He says. Don't know about this. or you can have him what? Right at you. Okay, anyway, let's put these back in their heads. But yeah, and then you just pull the head off, and if you want to put, say, a surprised head on, there's a little, just put the post right there into the back of the head. And then now you've got the head, and the head's on. Because of that post, the head can rotate and look side to side. This shouldn't. There's a couple of these little tabs here, are the sticking point here. This should stay tabbed in. There we go. Nope, just now his gun's falling off. Well, you get the point. Anyway, on to transformation. We'll go ahead and his gun, there's a little tab here. His guts gun tabs in right under here. Alright, so we'll go ahead and transform him. And to do that, again, we can go ahead and pop the guts gun out, as well as pop off the tail here. These come out. The guts gun opens up like this. Flip out this. Flip out the. Now this actually has a little catch for your fingernail to pull this out, which is nice. And there's his middle guts gun. This gun flips out, rotates around here, flips down. He sits down like this. These rotate, close up the that, fold up this little inner piece, and kind of just fold that down flat like that. And then the tail comes. You'd see there's where the handle goes, and this pegs onto this tab. So you fold this up to form kind of a back handle guard. And there are his weapons. And we'll give them to those when we get to robot mode. So this comes up, the legs, bring the knees down around like that, and flip up the knee pad covers. Knees down around like that, flip up the knee pad covers. The paws fold up here into the leg itself. There we go. Now bring the heel piece out. Bring the foot down and fold in the little spike cover there. Same here, same here. Bring the legs down, and then you pop this inner piece out, rotate these around, and then you'd see there's a tab and slot mechanism here. Just lock it back in the reverse way. Rotate the legs around here at the knee, and flip down the waist part. See, it covers his fake cheetah face. You flip this down and then slide it back there in that groove. Oh, then rotate the legs around like that. Sorry. You don't twist them at the knee. You rotate them up and around like that. See, I knew there was another trick to the leg. So yeah, so there you got the legs all done. What about that heel piece? Coming up here to the upper body. Bring these down. Fold these back like this. And you actually want these to rotate out a little bit. And then this leg, twist them a little bit on their joints, but this leg has a peg that pegs into this leg to form the backpack. Just like that. And once you get them pegged in, you can kind of adjust these in and out on their hinges so it sits a little more securely and squarely on the back. You just do that. Untag the arms here and bring them out. Rotate them around like this. You do want to be careful with these hinges. because I've seen some breakages right here at this hinge. And the best way to do that, you can see this piece, the shoulder needs to snap all the way up onto this piece. So if you support this from behind like this, and then kind of take this and snap it up into place like that, you're not putting this pressure on the thin part of the hinge. You're supporting it like that, which is good. And then to disconnect them, grab it kind of right here, or get your fingernails right there and pull it out like that. But always support this piece, this inner piece, and you risk your risk of snapping is much lower. So bring those down. Here is another place where you're going to want to be careful is these forearm guards. I've seen these hinges here crack. So you just want to just very slowly and gently bring those down and over and back on the arm guards. They're not like tissue paper, but you do want to be careful with those when you're folding them back. And same here. Especially the first couple of times. I find that once you've done them a couple of times, they tend to loosen up a little bit, but they're still a little tight. And no matter when you use them, you want to be careful with them. But yeah, just take some care with those hinges and the shoulder hinges. And then up here, we're going to bring robot head up and out. And when you go back to cheetah mode, make sure you can see there's a couple little square holes in there. That's where when you bring this whole thing in, you want to make sure that cheetah's the helmet pieces go in there. Bend them all the way back up from the neck piece and make sure those go through those holes right there. Let's bring that up. Rotate his head down and around. Bring this whole assembly down and in as much as possible. Be careful with those fiber optic whiskers like that. And then this whole assembly comes down. Flip this forward, peg it into the front of his headpiece as you do it. Nope, come back up. You see there's a little tab here on this blue piece that should go in the front of this assembly. Should collapse in a little bit more, but I don't. There we go. Collapse it all the way down. It should look like that. And there is MP CHEETOR in robot mode. I completely forgot to show him off the transmetal CHEETOR in cheetah mode. That makes me sad. Oh, get his shoulders reattached here. And you can see he's got his little shoulder turbines, so lots of nice gold metallic paint. Again, they fake the cheetah head on his chest, but considering everything else that's going on, I'll allow that. And yeah, there he is in robot mode. So yeah, I meant to do this in alt mode as well, but I do have my Transmetal 2 CHEETOR. I can't find my regular non-Transmetal CHEETOR. I know I had one. I believe my daughter absconded with him a couple years ago, and he's probably in her room somewhere. But just to give you an idea of how he compares to an old Beast Wars Deluxe, there he is with this Transmetal 2 self. So he's a little bigger than the old toy. Because if I remember, the other one wasn't much bigger than him. But, yeah. Just to give you a quick comparison there. He also has swappable faces, just like his counterpart. Again, mostly it's just different eyes and slightly different mouth expressions. And again, it's a very easy swap. You just pull this out and then just use this little peg on the back. You just peg right back in. You're going to have to slide his face down behind the side guards of the helmet. You can swap out his face. They don't seem to be as dramatic a difference as... I mean, they are different faces, but they don't seem to be quite as dramatically different, especially once in the helmet, as his beast faces do. That one gives him bigger eyes. Poseability wise, he's pretty decent. His head is on a hinge. It makes his neck look a little weird. But side to side, up and down. He's got the hinge at the shoulders, forward and back hinge at the shoulders, although again, support this joint very carefully if you're moving the shoulder because you don't want it snapping off here. Bicep swivel, dual hinged elbows, so you can fold them all the way up like that. He does have hinged fingers, a hinged wrist that gives him some posability, but again, the forearm guard gets in the way. He does have a waist swivel, hips out side to side, front to back, thigh swivel, hinge knees, again, dual hinge knees, so you can get pretty decent amount of range out of them as well. You can see the toes are articulated as well as articulated here as well as at the toe and as well as up here. So you've got a few different places. The heel is on a hinge and the feet do have an ankle tilt on them. It's mostly just an inner hinge there on the foot, but you can put him in wider poses and keep his feet flat, which is kind of cool. We'll go ahead and his weapons. He can hold his weapons in his hand as one would expect by just sliding it in there and getting that tab in there. This one's a little difficult. I feel like the slot for the tab, but you can get it. Yeah, there we go. There he is holding his guts gun, and then this one, you kind of have to bring his hand in on the hinge to get this in his hand. You can unpeg this and put it in his hand like that. Have him close the hand around it, and then kind of fold this back down around. And he kind of holds it. It's getting him to hold it specifically is a little bit of a pain in the dink, but it's doable. And you can also store these on the back here. You can see there's a little slot right there. You lift this up, you can take this gun and store it right back there on the back of his waist and bring the legs down over that. And then this gun can come out and you can take the handle here, and there's a slot right here behind his head. You can peg this into here. And so it's a little bit messy, but you can store his guns on his back if you wish. Personally, I like to store the smaller or the bigger gun and give him his belly guts gun because I like his belly guts gun. On the old toy, you could fill it with water and squirt people with it, a function sadly lacking from the Masterpiece. So, is it truly a masterpiece? Well, that's really up to you to decide. And then just for a good group shot here, here he is with MP Primal, and I think they look outstanding together. I'm really happy to see these Masterpiece Beast Wars figures coming. We got Dinobot on the way. I'm hoping to see Megatron. I want to see more Masterpiece Beast Wars because these two have turned out so great. But they look great together. You can also, looking good with the group here is the Generations Rat Trap or the Legends Rat Trap, depending on where you got him. I think he also fits in well scale-wise with these guys. I also have Generations Rhinox. The Generation, not the Legends version. The Legends version is probably a little bit more accurately colored. And he could stand to be taller. He could. I think he was one of the bigger Maximals. So I would love to see a bigger Rhinox come out. But as a group shot, these guys These guys do look good together. So hopefully we'll get masterpieces of all of them. But the Generations toys for Rat Trap and Rhinox make decent stand-ins. Rat Trap especially, Rhinox, like I said, could be bigger. But they do still look good together on the shelf. But yeah, I'm really impressed with this. I wish you can even see here again on his chest. Let me point this out. Those pixelated spots to match the cartoon. Since it was all CGI, I dig it. I do wish the ab crunch in cheetah mode weren't as floppy. Fixable with floor polish, I think. I don't see where I'm going to have an issue fixing that. It seems like it should be fairly straightforward. But, and like I said, there's some fragility. I have not experienced any issues. I've been careful with it. But I have heard even people being careful with it have had those forearm hinges here on these guards break. And that's a little scary. I don't want that to happen because he's otherwise a very nice figure. And again, these shoulder pieces can be fragile, so do be careful with that. The legs apparently are tricky. I forgot to flip them around. I spun them around here, but I did catch that. So yeah, just remember the order of how everything twists and rotates in the legs, and you should be okay. But a very nicely designed figure, nicely detailed. Like I said, my only concerns are the floppy ab joint and the fragility of a couple of those connections. I feel like the forearm guards especially, I feel like even being careful could be a problem down the road. So do keep an eye on those. But there he is. Overall, I do still recommend him. He's a very nice version of CHEETOR. He works great with Primal, and I think that he's going to make a really nice addition to a display shelf. MP-34 CHEETUS.